Hey everybody, I'm Sprinkles.
And I'm Manic.
Welcome back to Sprinkles and Manic. Today we're playing a game that Cheratomo, Kara, made, and our very own Say a Pimp, Rom, worked on the music for it. So what you're listening to, the gentleman who wrote our theme, also worked on this. This is a little bit of a different game for us so far. A little less comedic, a little more serious.
Yeah, I think we'll probably try and take a somewhat of a more, contemplative and introspective tone while playing it. You know, there might be funny moments, but we probably won't be cracking jokes left and right.
Yeah. As a few other people who have streamed the game have mentioned at the beginning of their playthroughs, if you're not in the right headspace to watch something a little more serious and a lot more emotional, take it easy. Don't watch it. Go watch something funny. We've got other stuff that's funny on our channel.
True.
For you to watch.
Got plenty of options.
But we really wanted to play through this game, partly because we've both experienced being in not so good relationships. Not necessarily the content that's in the game. We don't really know. I've seen just a little bit here and there. And
I haven't seen anything. Yeah, so I'm going in blind.
I relate, and then mostly I wasn't really paying attention to too much of the gameplay and dialogue.
Right.
Just because I wanted to experience it for myself. And I mean, Jeannie's studying to be a doctor in mental health, so I think this was an appropriate game for us to play. Plus, we love Kara and Rom and want to support them.
Absolutely.
So, without further ado, let's go ahead and start.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, here we go. Finally, we're finally together. Long-distance relationships are never easy. We assumed 2 hours would be difficult, but not insurmountable. We were wrong. It was awful. Finally, after 4 terrible years, James graduated from his college. We're moving in together at last. We've dreamt about this for years and prepared for it for months. Things might be rough at first, but we're ready to weather the storm. James is particularly nervous. He's the one who had to move towns and find a new job. His van pulls up next to the curb of my apartment building, and I feel like I'm gonna float off the ground.
Oh.
James, you're finally here! I run out the door and fling myself around him, laughing. This is the beginning of the rest of our lives together. Aw.
Cute.
Ooh. But the first day isn't as happy as I hoped it would be. We were unpacking his stuff all day, trying to find space for him in my tiny one-bedroom apartment. I got rid of a ton of my stuff to leave room for him, but it wasn't enough. We were exhausted, navigating where to move the bed and the desk through tense stretches of silence. Everything was off to a great start. Sweaty and tired, all I want to do now is collapse on the couch and watch people make impossibly beautiful baked goods until I pass out. James, however, isn't tired at all. To the contrary, he's pacing in front of me and the TV, hands behind his back. Is something wrong? He avoids my eyes but stops moving.
Yeah, so I have something to tell you.
I motion him to come sit next to me. Of course, you can always tell me anything. He sits down, swallowing hard. He stops. I smile encouragingly, reaching out to pat his hand. His eyes flick to my face, then back down.
I haven't meant to keep this a secret. It just never came up. I've been afraid of how you might take it, but now that we're living together, you're probably gonna find out.
My heart skitters. Find out? About what?
Promise me you won't leave me.
About what?
I'm a bit depressed.
I'm hit by relief so palpable it escapes me in a sigh. James makes a face. Sorry, I thought I jumped to the worst conclusion possible. I thought you cheated on me.
Of course I'm not cheating on you.
I never would have thought you were depressed. You're always running around, meeting up with people, hosting those game nights.
It was easy to hide when we barely saw each other. I could always make myself look busy, even if I wasn't. But I'm trying to warn you, I can get really moody. The whole drive up here, I was thinking about how I'm going to do something to push you away when I'm in one of my moods.
He looks deflated.
He sounds toxic already.
I mean, it's tricky because, obviously when you're depressed, you're not in the best state of mind. And sometimes, you're going to have days where it's difficult to be around other people, but it's not an excuse to treat them poorly. So
yeah. The being aware of the situation is important, but when you lead with, I can get really moody and not, hey, I'm working on this and I've been working through this.
Right.
And I need your support to get through this. Because I want things to work out. Leading with a little more of a positive note is usually probably a better approach to take. I'm not an expert, but
No, he definitely sounds like he's kind of almost guaranteeing that it's going to be bad. He's like, I'm going to push you away. I'm going to be that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So.
And that I feel is already kind of a bit of a red flag. We know kind of going into this that it's about a bad relationship, a very toxic relationship. So I have a feeling James is not a very good guy.
Yeah.
But the way that it's worded, there's already kind of red flags there that I'm like, the hairs on the back of my neck started going up at that, and I'm like,
it's hard though, because also presumably she loves him, and if he's saying I'm in this really bad place, it's not let me just you don't want to be let me just abandon you to deal with this bad place
not.
that you told me you're
not.
in.
It's just the dialogue just already feels like
yeah, I definitely hear you.
On the the outside looking into this,
right,
and I was watching Sharky Anna's stream, and kind of seeing some of the commentary Kara was making on it, and she drew all the pictures.
Oh, that's awesome!
I wanted to kind of make a comment on that.
Yeah,
she drew all the pictures in the game, and she also based this more on her own experiences too. So
right. Yeah, I remember seeing it was semi-autobiographical.
Yeah. So that's also something to kind of note when going into it, is that real people say stuff like this, and it sounds familiar to me, So
right.
I can't know how it'll work out between us. I feel like I'll let you down. I've tried to pull myself together for months, and it hasn't worked. I'm still a mess. Eventually, you'll see that. See, you're setting yourself up for failure, bro.
My heart twists. James stares past me, a hollowness carved into his face. I've never seen him look like this. You want us to stay together, right?
Of course I do, but...
No buts! I want us to stay together. If you want us to stay together too, there's nothing to worry about, silly Billy.
Oh.
He smiles weakly, unconvinced. Seriously, I love you. I'm not going to leave you when you're struggling. We both knew moving in together could be rough. We have to get used to each other, and we're going to find out stuff about each other we never knew. This is just one of those things. I'm willing to stick it through. I squeeze his hand, and finally he smiles.
I am too.
Have you been to see a therapist about this at all?
I was seeing a college counselor. Now that I'm out here, though, it's not affordable.
I bite my lip. James hasn't even started his job. The plan was I would quit my job so I could concentrate on school. There's a particularly valuable internship I'm hoping to qualify for, and my grades aren't up to snuff as it is. It's a long-term plan, but it leaves money tight for the time being. I already feel guilty enough about relying on James for money. I told him I could handle all of the household chores in exchange, but as if reading my thoughts, James starts rubbing my back.
I don't want you to stay at your job. I'm fine. My counselor gave me tools for dealing with this. I wasn't trying to make a big deal out of it. It's just something that's probably going to affect you.
Maybe.
No, it's important you qualify this year. I'm not in any danger. I can wait it out.
I force a smile. If you say so. It'll only be a few more months. When things settle down, your therapy will be our first priority. Deal?
Deal.
Well, at least he was getting help before. That's good.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Especially like when you're in college, there's a lot of resources that your university will likely have available for you that's included in your tuition. I know for me, we had the Student Health Center, and we were able to I didn't personally make use of it, but because I was covered under my insurance, I was living at home too, so I didn't personally have to do that, but thanks, Siri. I hit my watch because I was adjusting my pillow.
Oh, it's all good.
And Siri doesn't have an answer for things.
She decided to insert herself into the conversation.
Thanks, Siri, for interrupting. So I didn't personally have to make use of the resources, but for a lot of people who were living in the dorms, who weren't at home with their normal doctors, who didn't have the means to establish themselves with a doctor in the area in the same way, the Student Health Center was a great resource, and a lot of, there's both student counselors and professionals that are usually available, again, depending on your university, but if you're in college, I would highly recommend, if you're struggling in any way, make an appointment with them, and it might work. It might work for your benefit. I can't guarantee anything, but it's at least a resource you can look into.
For sure. And some of them, like, you know, even if they might not have the exact resources you need, a lot of them are aware of, like, other things in the area, can help you establish that, or sometimes they know about, like, good deals for students and stuff. So, yeah, it's definitely at least worth looking into for sure.
And you also, like, even though it sucks with mental health, and I've been there not realizing it, that I was struggling until after the fact, if you have the consciousness, or if one of your friends or family members, you know, suggests it, don't be opposed to the idea, because it can feel offensive. And it does feel offensive if, like, your mom starts telling you, hey, you should probably go talk to someone because you seem out of it, you know, in some way. It feels very offensive in the moment, but having a little more proactive approach to your own mental health is extremely important, so that it doesn't devolve into something later too.
Right. I'm also just genuinely the type of person who believes that, like, literally every single person can benefit from therapy. Like, if you find the right therapist who's a good match for you, which you won't always right away. But I feel like everyone could learn better coping skills and stuff. And some people obviously need it more than others. But, like, I don't know. I don't think there should be any sort of a stigma with it. Like, it's great to have another person help you reflect on how you're living your life and how you can feel happier and do better. But yeah, so, okay. We settle in rather quickly over the next few days. By the time James finished moving all of his stuff in, there were only 2 days left before my classes started back up. He seems to be okay. He's not doing great, but not doing terrible either. Now that we're living together, I'm seeing what he meant about his moods. Sometimes I'll start in on a conversation only for him to get supremely irritated. I'm trying to pay attention and learn which topics to avoid. Still, it's hard to see him upset this often. He pulled me through so many dark spots. Even before we started dating, James was my best friend for years. He got me through failed tests, fights with friends, college anxieties, and my general fear of the future. Even when what I did was questionable, he believed in me when others didn't. He's always made me feel like I can do and be more. I want to do something to cheer him up. So, I got him a present.
Aww.
An exact replica of a sword from his favorite show. Every time the hero unsheaths it, James marvels at it.
That's so cute.
That's a really thoughtful present, yeah. It's something he's always coveted. Maybe finally having that dream come true with something tangible he can touch will help him feel more at home here. I wait until it's the night before his first day at work. Thankfully, he's still not as familiar with the apartment, so he didn't know about my hiding spot above the boiler.
What is this?
When I present it to him, his eyes shine with glee.
It's heavy. What is this?
He eagerly unwraps it as I struggle to look blasé. The lid comes off, and he lifts the blade out of its velvet tome.
Oh my god.
He says it in a sort of flat way. He doesn't sound excited. It's the Obleron. Don't you recognize it? It's the real deal, an exact replica.
So it is.
He tests the sword in his hands. He tries to wield it one-handed, but it's so heavy he ends up having to hold it with both. After giving it a few timid swings, he sets it against the wall next to the door. Do you like it?
Well...
He takes a deep breath.
I don't. I'm sorry. Actually, I thought you knew. I don't like collecting junk. I prefer to have fewer belongings.
Junk?
This thing, I mean, it's expensive. I know, because I looked into it once. I decided against it because I couldn't justify wasting money on something like this.
Wasting? My voice comes out like a squeak and I clear my throat.
Sorry, it's a nice gift, but we're living together now. Since money is tight, I thought we would be more careful than this.
Of course. Why didn't I think about that? I'm sorry. I was trying to help you feel more at home.
I mean, I do like it, kind of. Or I appreciate the thought, at least.
He stops mid-sentence, his eyes widening for an instant before he turns away. James? What's wrong?
It's nothing.
No, I saw something happened. What's wrong? You look so sad. I won't be upset.
It's just... It made me wonder whether you really know me all that well. That's all. Wow!
I feel like I was trampled by a horse.
Oh my god, what a jerk!
Ouch. Lord.
Sorry, I'm sorry. This is why I didn't want to say. I know you care. My brain, We haven't been living together long. I've talked about this before, but maybe you didn't connect the dots.
I'm so sorry, but I do love you and I do listen. I have to pause because my throat is tightening up and I don't want to make everything worse by crying. I got all caught up in wanting you to be happy. I thought you loved the show so much you would love this. But you're right. I should have thought about it more. I'm sorry. I wanted to cheer you up.
It's okay.
Oh, did you read it? I couldn't hear you.
I said, it's okay.
Oh, sorry. This is my line. I'm dumb.
Yeah.
He says it, but he still looks so sad.
I wasn't sure if the mic cut out on your end or not.
Oh, it's all good.
Because sometimes that happens, and I'm like,
yeah, for
did you
sure.
say something?
I want to hug him or something to make this awful moment a little better. Instead, James drifts towards our bedroom door.
Sorry, I'd like to be alone for a bit. Need to get myself back together.
He goes into the bedroom and shuts the door. All right.
What a jerk!
I mean,
as Okay.
It's like, I get it, but...
I've done the thing where I'm like, oh my god, you shouldn't have, like, and I feel bad that somebody spent money on me, and so I'm like, oh my god, I feel bad. But then, like, also, I've been, you know, on the receipt, like, I've been giving a gift to someone, and I'm like, this means a ton, that I love gift giving. It's one of my things, man. And I love finding
it's a way of showing love.
Gift for somebody, and getting excited about them getting excited about the gift.
Yeah.
And to have that, like, just, you shouldn't have done this because it's a waste of money. Like, she was obviously doing it thoughtfully. And, you know...
His language was harsh, for sure. Like, he called it junk. He called it a waste. Like, all of... That's not the way... Like... There was a more delicate way to go about that. That was like, this was so thoughtful. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm just a little stressed about our money right now, and I don't want you to spend too much on me. Like, I feel like that would have been a much better approach than, like, why did you get me this junk?
Like, it's from his favorite show. Like,
and
then to say, I don't know if you know me at all. Yeah. It's like, really, bro? Really?
Really, there are always speed bumps in these situations.
Really.
James needs time to himself when he's upset. It felt different when space was over a phone instead of within the same 1,000 square feet. But we just moved in together. He's got a new neighborhood, a new job. We're trying to make room for one another in our lives, and he's depressed. He's going through a lot right now. Hopefully, as the two of us adapt to these new circumstances, he'll go back to being more like his usual self. Regardless, I love him. Even though it'll be hard, I want to support him through this. I knew it would be rough at first, and I am not willing to turn my back on him when things get rough. That is something I promised myself I would never do. No matter what, we'll make it through this. Ooh, scene change. That's right. It was about 3 years ago. I think my parents are going to get divorced. His eyes widen. He places his hand over my own.
I'm sure that's not true. Everything will be fine.
I stare him dead in the eyes. No, it won't. I was hoping things would get a bit easier for James after he started his job and had a new routine. Unfortunately, that wasn't in the cards. Despite the good word my dad put in for him, James immediately got on the wrong side of his boss.
He thinks I'm arrogant. He thinks I'm a pushover. He thinks I'm entitled, and he wants to make me work hard to cure me of it.
He comes home late every night, stressed out of his mind, a new anecdote about his boss or that coworker on his lips.
I turned in the papers, but then Melissa told me I stapled them wrong. Stapled them wrong. Who cares about how papers are stapled? I did the work, didn't I? She could tell me nicely to fix it. But no, she shouts it in front of everyone, and then she drops the papers on my desk and walks away.
Dang, Melissa, take a chill pill.
It's hard enough to learn all this stuff on the fly, and now she's picking on me about staples.
Half the time, the anger shifts into sadness. Then he spirals.
I hate this. I need to work for us to live, but I feel like I'm making everyone's lives harder. I'm making mistakes left, right, and center. I'm pathetic.
It happened again tonight. To see him like this again, hanging his head, it looks like he's given up. Usually I can pick up his mood when he gets like this. I put on a show, I get him some dinner, and he calms down. Everything ends up fine. But I was supposed to go out with Chelsea. It's our night to catch up and let off some steam. I glance from my phone to James. I know I can calm him down, and it's only one hangout with Chelsea. She won't be upset. But I hate it when I can't keep my word, and I promised her. Can I really leave James like this? Oh, man.
Ooh.
Oh, this is our first choice. Ooh, what do we do? What do we do?
I mean, on one hand, like, he's gonna get pissy about how we don't support him.
Yeah.
And, like, okay, if I were blind in the situation, if I weren't, like, a third party looking in, I would say, oh, well, you gotta stay home and support the boy, you know?
Yeah.
But realistically, I would probably, like, check in with him, make sure it was okay, you know, make sure he was gonna be okay, especially, like, in a depressed state of mind, you know, get him going, maybe be a little late for Chelsea, but to have a black and white,
I know, it's like we don't have a middle ground here, it's either we go or we don't go.
Yeah.
It's hard. My hang-up, and this is, like, kind of a specific thing to me, but my hang-up is that she said she promised Chelsea, and I'm, like, real big on not breaking promises.
You really are.
Yeah, I take them very seriously. So, if it was me, I would have to go. Like, I would have to go,
no,
basically.
I understand. Let's go ahead and go with that, then.
Okay. So, leave him like this?
You are big on promises, and that would override any of my, like, lukewarm feelings to both options.
Yeah. All right, we'll do that then.
Sorry, bro.
I can't cancel on a friend. I'm not that kind of person. I creep out of the bedroom, tiptoeing towards the door. I've already dressed for the night, and it's obvious. Hey, sorry. I was going to head out tonight. He pulls his head up.
You are?
I wince. Yeah, I promised Chelsea I would hang out with her. I'm met with a deep silence. I fidget with my clothes. So I'm gonna go.
Chelsea, huh? Go ahead. I figured.
I pause, hand hovering over the doorknob. Figured? Figured what?
It's nothing. Go ahead and go. Have fun.
My hand still hovers over the doorknob. Figure what? He throws his arms up.
It's not that hard to figure out. Of course you'd rather hang out with your friend than be here with me. I make you miserable. You deserve to go out and have fun.
What? No, it's not that. I promised her. I don't want to break my promise. He rolls his eyes.
I'm sure you did.
A tense silence. I'm racking my brain trying to figure out how to approach this when James says,
Go ahead. Leave. I'll be fine.
I frown. You will, right?
Sure. I'll just call up my friends and go hang out with them. Oh, wait. They're still on the other side of the state.
James.
I'll find something to do in here. This is basically my place now, too. Maybe I can redecorate a bit.
James, stop it.
What?
You're being unfair. He snorts again and mutters something under his breath. It sounds like I'm the one being unfair. We stare at each other. I glance at my watch. Then I sat down with him. James, what's wrong? I don't want to fight with you.
What's wrong is that you're...
He stops, struggling for words, then his shoulders slump.
I'm sorry, I'm being a jerk. I knew it would happen. It's hard being up here. I don't know anybody. I have nobody to talk to except for you. Seeing you go out and have fun with your friends is kind of hard to see right now.
Well, why don't you come with us? I'm not sure Chelsea would like that, but it would be better than this. He avoids my eyes.
I don't want to.
And why not? He pauses.
I know you're not going to believe me, but I don't think Chelsea likes me.
You don't?
Of course not. Haven't you seen the way she looks at me? She's always judging me. Always. We never got along before. I always got the impression she was waiting for us to break up. Now that we're living together, I bet it'll only get worse.
That's silly. Why would she be waiting for us to break up? She's known about us since I had a crush on you in high school. She's excited we're living together now. You don't know her well enough yet.
I knew you weren't going to believe me.
It's not that I don't believe you.
It's that you think you know better than me.
Well,
she hasn't come by to visit since I got here. Shouldn't that be something your best friend does when you finally move in with your long-distance boyfriend?
I don't know. Should it? We're in college. She's busy. Don't take it personally.
You're right. Everyone's busy, except me. I'm just alone.
He hangs his head again and I sigh. Then I head into the bedroom to change. I have to cancel on Chelsea just this once. Gosh darn it!
No! Bad!
I stay up late, comforting him and talking him past these thoughts. We put on his favorite show, and it eventually turns into a pretty good night. As we head to sleep, we avidly discuss what we think will happen in the next episode. Next time, I tell myself I won't cancel on her. SMH.
Shaking my head.
Yeah, for real? Wow! I don't know who's saying this. He's so bright on stage, he's almost burning. ... I have never seen someone so talented. I've got to work harder at my own dreams. I need to catch up.